All right, guys, so we are live. Took the day off today because I was feeling a little bit sick. I needed a little break, so I decided to make a video on what I call the art of fighting without fighting. So a lot of times, well, before I start, guys, go visit my brand new website, Drossos.com. I have a 48 video self-defense tutorial, brand new fight analysis, a 3-hour women's self-defense seminar, my seminar in Vienna, my knife defense seminar, as well as bonus videos, fitness, and a meal plan. So go check those out on nickdrossos.com. So what is the art of fighting without fighting? So here's the thing. A lot of times when I teach self-defense, mostly with people who've been attacked, I tell them, okay, tell me what happened. So they always start, well, the guy grabbed me, he punched me, he had me by the shirt or he swung at me. I always say, when was the first time? So I'll tell them what happened before that. Well, he walked up to me. What happened before that? Oh, I saw him. He was staring at me when I was in the club. What happened before that? Well, I noticed him when I was in the line and he was giving me a look and I kind of gave him a look. So what does that mean? The fight starts not the moment you're being punched or hit. If the fight starts then, you've probably made a few errors or were not able to pick up. Your awareness was probably down. So the fight starts the moment you make visual or intuitive contact. So what does that mean? The moment you see the attacker, the moment you're from far and you think he's following you, he's pursuing you, he's staring you down, he's trying to get close, he's setting up something. So the moment you make visual contact because you saw him, or intuitive contact, is the moment that you feel something. A lot of women that I've worked with, some of the women, they felt something was wrong. They felt they were being followed. They made intuitive contact. So your intuition is a survival mechanism, right? Very important part. If you feel something, if you have to stop in the street and turn around and look and say, why do I feel like I'm being watched? Why do I feel like I'm being followed? We're programmed at, kids when they're young, they really, that's they function like that. As we get older, we try to rationalize everything I'm just being paranoid. Why am I worried? Why do I feel like somebody's watching me? Am I crazy? If you feel that, take a minute or a second, just turn around and say, why do I feel like somebody's watching me? Why do I feel like somebody is following me? Why do I feel like, that person's trying to get close to me? The fight starts the moment you make visual intuitive contact. And that means at this very first moment, you have to start, like chess or checkers, you have to start making your moves. You have to start planning, where am I at? Who am I with? Do I have an improvised weapon? What are my nearest exits? Can I run? How do I make sure he doesn't get to the point where he grabs me by the throat or punches me? So this is the first one. The second one is awareness and spatial awareness. So again, we talk about awareness is when the person is starting to come in close, when he starts to come into your range or into your space. What am I doing at that very moment? Yes, it's important to listen to what he's saying, but more important is, what is his body language saying? So the first thing, when the person's in your space, I look at his hands. Is he shifting weight? Is he moving back? Is he making a signal? What do I see right over here in the awareness and the spatial awareness? What am I looking at? What am I preparing for? Again, if the guy's got a knife, and I've done a lot of knife training, and a lot of times the knife is already out when we're doing it, because I don't know how else I could, do a real knife defense unless I was telling, hey, here are a bunch of guys, grab a knife, attack me whenever you want. The most I could do is do a scenario or do knife defense when the knife is outside. But when you're looking at knife defense, the most important thing is awareness and spatial awareness. How does he get into my space? Where are his hands? Is he shifting weight? Is he moving back and forth? Is he making a signal? If the person wants to attack me with a knife, he has to come at least 3 to 7 feet into my space to attack me. Now, a lot of knife videos that are made, a lot of, I'll call them, a lot of instructors are like, you're an idiot against a knife, I'm just gonna run. Great, but you can't run through an elevator, you can't run through a staircase, you can't run through a wall. Most fights happen in close quarter range, and I've test proofed this. Anytime you have to run in less than 5 feet, anytime you have to run and open a door, move around an obstacle, every time I've tried it, I've gotten stabbed. As well, anything under 5 feet, if I try to run, let's hope that I run faster than him. And for me to run against a knife, I have to be in a big open space. And this is where the awareness comes in, right over here. Awareness space. Is there an improvised weapon? Can I use something to strike him? I have to be prepared for this before the knife or the attack happens. So when I'm faced with my attacker, as I'm talking to him, I'm looking at his hands. Do I have an improvised weapon? Is there an exit? Can I throw something? As well as, who am I with? Am I with my son? Am I with my girlfriend? What do I start doing the moment the person is in front of me? So you have to start moving really, really, so you visual intuitive contact, awareness, spatial awareness, and verbal defense and de-escalation. So working in clubs, I've seen people fight over the dumbest, stupidest shit you can imagine. So, right, I saw two guys get into a fight because one guy said the other guy looked at him funny. And, I'm standing in front of the club and one guy says, you're looking at me funny. The other guy says, no, you're looking at me funny. And these guys get into a fight because one starts telling the other one they're looking at him funny. And then what happened was, the scary thing about being in a fight in the street is you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know his mindset. You don't know how many there are, if he has a weapon. When you're fighting in the ring, you could pretty much predict the outcome of the fight. Worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get knocked out. You're going to get, a concussion, broken ribs. There's a ref right there to stop it. You can, tap. Somebody could throw in the towel. You have a certain amount of control of what could happen. In the street, the dangerous part is you don't know this person. Is he bluffing? Isn't he bluffing? If he pulls out a knife, is he actually ready to use it? If he pulls out a gun, is he ready to use it? So that's the real difference. And this is why I always tell people, make visual intuitive contact, start moving, awareness, spatial awareness, start being proactive of what you can use and how to avoid the fight, and verbal defense and verbal de-escalate and verbally diffuse. De-escalate meaning control the situation verbally. Diffusing means redirecting the situation and finding a way to be able to manipulate and control that person's mind just through words. Most of the fights and most of the fights can be verbally diffused and de-escalated. If you follow these 3 steps, it becomes very hard for somebody to get close, to get into your space, and then to attack you. So you have these 3 steps that you can follow to be able to walk out of a fight. Now, don't think you're a coward or a pussy, or don't let your ego get in the way. And this is when I talk about de-escalation and diffusion. You bring up your hands. If I teach self-defense for kids, absolutely. The youngest kid I train is 8 years old, and I train, up to 16, 17 years old kids. And, I don't have different systems for, one for kid, one for women, one for men. It's more or less the same because I try to keep it as simple as possible. It's the method of attack that changes. Obviously, when I train women, they're being faced with a little bit more different common attacks, and the method of attack is going to be different. A guy's not going to walk up to a girl and say, hey, let's go, me and you, one-on-one. He's going to get close. He's going to try to maybe he's going to come in by flirting. Maybe he's going to come in by helping her to say, hey, I'll help you bring the groceries up to your house. Hey, you need help with that. He's going to find a different way to get close. With a guy, it's going to be more, it might be more aggressive, staring down, looking, more intimidating, trying to establish a predator-prey, or an alpha sense that, I can take this person. Now, think of this, guys. If somebody's picking a fight with you, chances are they're bigger, they're stronger, and think they can take you. You're not going to go pick a fight with somebody if you think, well, I'm going to go pick a fight with this guy because, fuck, he looks like he's going to give me a beating or the fight of my life. So, and I always tell people again, if you're in a fight, I hear people, it wasn't fair. Guess what? If you're in the street, it's never fair. You're always outnumbered. You're always outgunned. Uh, don't be surprised or shocked that it's not fair. You want a fair fight, step in the ring, go in a cage, it's going to be a one-on-one. But in the street, chances are you're going to be outnumbered, the guy's got a weapon, bigger, stronger. So mentally condition yourself for that as well. You might lose a fight and you're pinned down. Is it preferable to just give up or run? Very good question. It's hard to say. If the person has me on the ground, he pulled a knife. So I'm reading this one, which let me see if the person has you on the ground and he's hammering you. I always tell people, and if the person is striking you, you might as well fight, right? If the guy hits me and that, you're out muscled, like the guy took you down, he hit you, and he's like, you've had enough, and you want to put up your hands and say, fuck it, I'm done with the fight. That's your decision, right? If you fought and you took a beating, or you're taking a beating and the guy stops and you can stop it right there, hey. But my mindset and what I like to teach, as long as the person is fighting, you fucking fight back with everything you have. Okay? Again, you're not gonna have the choice of who's gonna attack you, how they're gonna attack you, where they're gonna attack you. I hate when these people make these videos and say, oh, nobody would attack you this way. Really? Say that to the crackhead. Say that to the fucked up psychopath. You think he's gonna attack you or choke you this way or that way? His hands are just gonna come around and attack you any way he wants. And this is why sometimes when I make videos, when I tell people, grab her by the throat or grab him by the shirt, they all do a different type of attack to a certain degree, and I always take it from there. I don't want to say, no. He wouldn't attack you this way. He'd be attacking you this way or that way. No, this is the way you attack. Let's work it from there. And that's where the magic happens in terms of when we're teaching self-defense, right? Because if you test-proof stuff, and you could do something with a guy who's 5'6", 5'9", you can get somebody like Big Nick who's 6'7", and the fight's gonna change every single time. I always say you'll never fight the same fight twice. So when it comes to de-escalation, it's basically putting your ego aside and finding a way to control the person through verbal. Look, man, I'm sure we could talk about it. You're looking at me funny. Shit, man, I'm sorry. I was having a really bad day. I was just kind of spaced out. Or shit, yeah, I thought I recognized you from school. What's your name? Shit, man, I thought I knew you from school. Wrong person, man. Sorry if I was, just looking at you. I was actually looking at my friend over there. I thought I saw somebody I knew. That's how to diffuse it, de-escalate, and even pattern interrupt, where you're throwing a question to throw the person off at that very moment. If you say, what are you looking at? Say, shit, man. Oh, I thought I knew you from school. Is your name Peter? No. Oh, fuck. Sorry, man. Well, I'm not Peter. Oh, man, I really apologize. You were looking at me funny. Does Krav Maga work for knife defense? There's some good Krav Maga knife defense videos I've seen, and there's some bad knife defense I've seen. Really depends on the instructor and how they teach it. If you guys follow me, I've been often asked, I'm a little bit slow, guys, because I'm I'm all congested. I've often been asked to make like a legit series and, make a video on this instructor and that instructor and he's bullshit. I believe I'm an instructor, I believe, with integrity, with class. I don't want to build my reputation by bashing and tearing down others. I want to focus on what I can do the best as an instructor. I want to be the best that I can be with what I teach and what I know. I don't want to become the best at what I do by saying everybody else sucks, because that's very easy for me to take anybody's video out of 1,000, pick one, break it down and be like, oh, you see here, he didn't do this. Yeah, but maybe I did in the last 20. So that's not the type of person I am. I believe in the self-defense community. We're all here together to actually provide as best as we could real self-defense. Yes, some are better than others, but I'm not here to, start shitting on people because I don't have all the answers. As I work and as I'm still learning and growing, I'm still trying, working on my craft and becoming better in what I teach. And again, I don't want to build my reputation by, shitting on other instructors. It's very easy for me or anybody else to do that. And, I don't have much respect for people who do that, so, does mass play a role winning fight because I witnessed a fight on which didn't intervene? If somebody comes face to face and they're eyeing you and they're trying to intimidate you, again, awareness, spatial awareness. If they're here, you already missed this and this. So if they're here, they can easily headbutt you. So if I see him from far and he starts moving close, I'm bringing my hands in some natural position to make sure he doesn't get any closer where I'm vulnerable for headbutts or a strike. So my hands will come up right away. So again, if I see him from far, he gets close, my hands come up. And when he gets to this point, start using words, guys. Start, put your ego aside. Start diffusing, de-escalating, pattern interrupt. Get him talking. The more he starts talking, the quicker he forgets about striking you, right? He's not gonna talk and hit at exactly the same time. He might be talking, angling off, and throw his punch. By you getting to talk, what you're doing is you're also setting up your first strike. You're also checking out, by you getting him to talk, you're setting up your first strike as well as you're setting up, your awareness. The Sistema work, again, I've seen some good stuff and I've seen some bad stuff about Sistema. Like I said, a couple of minutes ago, guys, I don't want to start from Pakistan High. I don't want to start. He's like 198 meters. He does that MMA. I'm 6'1", and I'm doing boxing 9 years. Nick Drossos Fu. He has mental problems and he only wants to solve by fighting. If he has mental problems, think about it, man. You want to go fight with somebody who's, who has mental issues. Again, if he's in my face and I feel threatened, then you got to do what you got to do. If he grabs you, then you got to do what you got to do. If he grabs you or he attempts to strike you or he's in the space and you think he's going to set up his strike and you see him ready to hit you, don't wait till he throws the punch. If you got to go preemptive, then go preemptive. But again, try to, the moment you see him coming close, try to bring up your hands, start moving, get him to talk, find a way to figure out what does he want? What does he want from you? Why is he trying to pick a fight with you? Maybe he just wants to prove he's tougher and he's bigger and all you gotta say, yeah, man, all right, man, I don't want to fight you. Shit, you're so big, you'd probably beat me, man. So, and walk away. Fuck it, Like, the thing with being in a fight in the street, anything could happen. And I remember, and I talk about it, I saw a fight in a club where the guy punched one guy, and when he hit him, the guy fell, and as he fell, he split his head open on the back of the staircase, blood coming out everywhere. And, every time you decide to engage in a fight, anything could happen. Anything, there's no guarantees. And that's what's hard about even being a self-defense instructor. I can never tell you always, fight him. Never fight him. Always give him your money. Never give him. There's too many variables. I'm not going to be there. I can only give you the pros and the cons. And in that very moment, you need to make a decision based on the information you have, the videos you've seen, the training you've done, the scenarios you've done. How if the person intimidates you is in your own family? Well, what can you do? I had a trainer of mine, not a trainer, a student of mine. He was at a wedding and a fight broke out and he tried to control the person. And he goes, Nick, I had no choice. I kind of put him in a half, this thing here over here, because he goes, I didn't want to strike him. I controlled him this way. Somebody else came and scratched him in the face. And obviously when you're in that situation, you don't want it to turn into a fight at a wedding. Yeah, he goes, I didn't want to strike anybody, but he controlled the situation just through, manipulating and creating a lock where he can, lock the person down and try to talk to him. Once you start striking, again, if you're striking the throat, you're striking the eyes, you palm. Again, you don't know. I could palm strike somebody, and I've given people concussions even with helmets just when I strike. The guys from Fight Perfect made a critical video about you. Did you see it? I did see it. I wasn't actually impressed. I have tons of video that I talk about awareness. The girl said I would kick him in the back. That wouldn't work. The idea that you can't turn is false because I actually, spoke to a doctor in a chiro. You can't break the neck by turning back. One said go for the eyes. The other one said just punch him in the face. Well, how do you go for the eyes and punch in the face? Is by hitting open hand. But how do you argue somebody who tells me, oh, I broke my hand in a UFC fight and I kept fighting, and he's comparing himself to a woman who's 140 pounds? So I wasn't really impressed, and I wasn't impressed, and their information was wrong. And I could take their videos and rip it apart as well, but that's not how I want to build my reputation and my name. And we're not at all at the same level, probably here and as people as well. So, they have the right to do what they want. And to a certain point, I respect what they do because there is a lot of bullshit. But it's easy to take one video out of 900 and try to break it down. I'm a law enforcement. I actually trained a police officer in New York City, and he's actually coming to do my instructor course, and he loved it, that he's coming now. I did a seminar in New York City, he loved it. And he said, bring up your hands just like this, or using the passive stance, or here it was, was very important. How to strike, create distance, a lot about awareness. And he's coming to do my instructor course in Montreal. So is it the same principle? More or less, yes. There is some, you can't, as a police officer, I know you can't strike the throat or you can't headbutt. But again, if your life is in danger, just like when I worked in clubs, people said, well, if you can't do this, you can't do that, you're in security in a club, you can't do it. But the truth is, when you're outside the club and you're outnumbered 15-3, you don't really give a shit about the rules. You're like, fuck it. At this point, it's my life, I'm not gonna start thinking, oh shit, I'm not allowed to strike the guy in the throat. But there are 4 guys who are about to take me down, and all I'm thinking is don't go through the window. So again, when your life is in danger, you do what you gotta do to protect it. And that's the real difference between fighting and self-defense. Should I care about stupid people saying that I'm a coward? What people say, if there's an emotional trigger response, that means you feel that inside you. So I would tell you, build your self-confidence about yourself, believe in yourself. What they say is irrelevant. However, if somebody attacks you, then you fight with everything. I was about 50 years. You soon realize you never wanted that. What do you say? Something interesting. 50 years, when you know what you can do, you soon realize that you wanted that. See, what happens is, guys, I hate violence. I hate violence. I hate fighting. I hate it. I hope I never have to fight again. And other than working in clubs, I've been in maybe 5 or 10 situations where, it almost turned physical or it turned physical. The reason why I hate fighting is because I've seen people get stabbed working in clubs. I've seen people get shot. I've seen a guy get hit by a car in front of me. I saw a kid die in front of me. I've seen people get jumped. I've been jumped. The more you've been exposed to it, the more you're like, fuck, I hate fighting. I know the dangers of it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. Unless somebody were to attack me and I had to protect my life, I'll do it to the fucking death. But before I do that, even with all my training, I'm going to do this because I know that even a 16-year-old punk with a knife coming at me, even with all my knife training, I still, and most probably, and might get cut, slashed, and it takes one shot at the wrong place to actually die. You ever do any real sparring? Yes, I do. Not as much anymore. I've had concussions, broken ribs, but I still, once in a while like to spar. What was the worst fight you've ever been in? Fuck. worst fight. I think probably it was twice, and we were outnumbered like, 15, and the other time it was like 12 or 10. One was 2 to 3, and when working as a doorman, when you're 3 people working in a club, it's a numbers game. When they know they're 15 or 20 guys, they know that, and a few of them are fighters and brawlers, they know that they can take you. They know that guys were more than them. All we got to do is split them up and take one to that. If one takes you down to the ground, the other ones start kicking. It's as simple as that. That's what I tell these jiu-jitsu guys: don't go on the fucking ground. I remember one time I trained with a guy. A guy came to work at the club, and he was a jiu-jitsu guy, a great practitioner. And I told him, "What do you do?" He goes, "Oh, I do jiu-jitsu." I go, "I hope you know that you can't use this here." "Oh no, don't worry, I'm good at jiu-jitsu and this stuff." So your worst fight was in my basement when we were kids. Who the fuck is that? My elbow better than headbutt to end fight quickly. I wonder who that is. Jade, I don't know who that is. Maybe that's my cousin, as we did have some crazy fights in the basement. We actually had a fight with belts. We beat the shit out of each other with belts, and we're like 13, 14 years old. So I don't even know what I was talking about. Yeah, so let me just go back, because should I take my eyeglasses off when I fight? It depends. Can you see or can't you see with your eyeglasses? That's one. The second thing is, I would tell you, train with them, spar with your glasses, do some scenarios and see how they would play out. If your glasses fall over here or fall over there. And this is what's called the pressure testing, where you actually, I remember in one of the fights we got into the club, boom, I clinch with the guy, grabbing my hat comes into my face, and as I have the guy, I'm doing this and trying to bring up the hat so I can see. Now, I never trained for my hat to fall in my face, but it happens. Another time I went to eye gouge somebody, and I had my big gloves. I was trained to eye gouge, but at that very moment, I couldn't. About the jiu-jitsu guy. What jiu-jitsu guy? I don't know. Oh yeah, so what happened with the jiu-jitsu guy, we're in the club, and here we are in the middle of the club, and he goes for a takedown. So we're in the club, the fucking lights are blasting, music. He goes for a fucking takedown. I'm like, all I see is lights, him on the floor, people kicking, and all I'm thinking is, let me fucking get him up as quickly as possible. So I'm in the middle, I'm striking people, I'm trying to get up. He's trying to fucking do some arm bar, what the fuck he's trying to do. And at some point he gets up, people jump in. Again, when these type of fights happen, it's so chaotic, you have no clue what's happening. It's very hard for you to say, oh, I remember everything. It's like fucking pictures, right? Because adrenaline kicks in. Your gross motor skills, you're not in a ring. You're not in the same mindset as fighting in the ring, where you have complete clarity. You're fighting a lot with gross motor skills, and your survival kicks in. UK guys, what's up? So, I remember, and after the club, he looked at me, he's like, holy shit. I go, yeah, man. I go, look, you're a great jiu-jitsu guy. You know your shit. There's a lot of good stuff, but bro, don't go on the fucking ground in here, man. We're fucking outnumbered. There's fucking, there's people are throwing bottles or kicking. Thanks, man. That's a great question. So when I used to wear my gloves in the club, I used to wear these black leather gloves. I would have the instinct to punch because psychologically I felt like my hands were secure. When I didn't, I would go open hand. I train open hand. Now, guys, you could go from open hand to palm strike. Now, these guys who made the video, they're like, oh, nothing happens here. Let me crack you underneath the jaw with power or pop you in the nose. I'm not doing this. I'm striking. The same thing. As I punch, the only difference is instead of doing this, I do this. Now, the good thing about hitting open hand, my fingers are open. Now, I'll give you guys a great story. A couple of weeks ago, I was fighting with my son, and he finger jabbed me in the eye. I couldn't fucking see, because as he struck me, as we're fighting, his pinky went in my eye. Now, this is an 11-year-old boy who finger jabs me in the eye, and I can't see. So when I'm palm striking, I could also eye gouge, I can grab, I can crush. A punch will only do this. A palm strike will have a better follow through and a quicker release that I can grab, trap, and go into the eyes. Now, you know, some people say, punch. Look, you could punch. At the end, it's your fucking hand. But, you know, if you punch the guy and your hand is broken, the guy pulls out a knife, you're a one-hand fighter. You know, and punches are not, it's not because you're punching somebody that you're more effective, right? I'd rather hit open hand. Here, test it yourself. Take a wall and punch the wall as hard as you can, then punch open hand. You could actually have a lot more power with this here. But when you're palming, you're tilting the hand. You're hitting with this part, right? And again, when I palm, I'm gonna rake or grab. My hand is always open. And as I'm palming, I'm also going into the eyes with my fingers. For women who have nails and want to attack the eyes, why the fuck would they punch? Okay? Why would a 140-pound woman with little knuckles punch? Three Stooges. Thank you, man. Well, that's, you know, it didn't make sense. And what's really bad is that I've been teaching this for 20 years. Their information is wrong. You can't break your neck. So that's what bothers me about what they're doing, because women who watch this video and think, oh, I'm going to kick him in the back. 2, I have all my videos talk about awareness. 3, one was saying go for the eyes in case, so if you die, you have his DNA. I don't want to teach people to die. I want to teach them how to survive. You rip into the eyes because you want to try to strike the face. You don't punch him because I want to hit and rake at the same time. That as I strike, even if I did this, and myself, even as a guy, if I grabbed and I just started ripping into the eyes and palm striking at the same time, it's far better than just doing this, right? And again, if you're, you know, one of his comment was, you're very, very negative, and it always typical stereotype people, the metrosexual fighter, the metrosexual fighter who hits bad, and now she's a beast. You know, that's the thing, guys. Like, you know, one person, you know, but again, to each his own, right? How do you argue somebody who's 250 pounds, compare himself fighting in a cage, breaking his hand, with a woman who just watched the self-defense video, or a woman who's going to take a few classes to defend herself? So, you know, when you get a comment like that, you realize you can't really argue that. It's like, man, have fun. You know what I mean? First of all, you know, when I looked at the video, there's no class, there's no integrity. They actually, you know, and I get what they're doing, but you could do it respectfully, but that's not the case. And if you're gonna do it, know your fucking facts before you do it. So, I love elbows. Those are troll channels. They just create traffic. That's exactly what they do, right? Like I said, guys, I want to be an instructor with integrity. I don't want to just, you know, laugh and make jokes about women's self-defense. They're laughing about, you know, a serious topic when a woman may or can get attacked. So that's what brain cells who fall asleep on his own show. Well, that pretty much tells you everything. Like, I mean, to me, what really bothered me, I love Tony Blair. Tony Blair has some really good stuff. He's a really good self-defense instructor. A lot of what I teach, or some of what I teach, is like kind of like an underline, you know what I mean? So, you know, nobody is reinventing the wheel. Everybody takes a little bit of everything and make it their own as well. So, you know, again, guys, how do you, you know, what bothered me is that they're laughing about the video and making jokes about a serious topic, about women getting attacked, and they're laughing and making jokes about it. And, you know, if I've worked with women who've been attacked, who've been raped, I have testimonials of people that I've saved their life. A guy got attacked and he used my video on how to use a chair as an improvised weapon that saved his life. I got a person who got attacked in London, got stabbed once, and the second time, because he saw my video, he trapped the knife and he was able to survive. But obviously, they're not gonna post that, they're not gonna talk about that, they're not gonna take the videos where I do full out pressure testing, they're gonna take one video and just basically break it down. Absolutely, you know what I mean? I'm proud of what I'm doing, and at the end, the community is about, you know, serving and helping people, teach them real self-defense. I'm not here to say he's good, he's shit, he's bad, he sucks, I'm better than him. If you need to bash on other people so you could make yourself better, that just tells me that number one, we're not even at the same level. Number two, you're not good enough to be better without having to bash others. So how do you know to forget a fight, and how do you know forget to fight in a real fight? Not to forget. So through a lot of training, guys, what happens is when you're going to be attacked, your brain is going to shut down, your body's going to go in automatic pilot, and whatever you do through training, if it's realistic, that's what you're going to be doing, right? A lot of people tell me what happened. I don't fucking remember. I remember I struck him, I fell, people were screaming, somebody hit me. I remember one of the clubs I was working, the guy grabbed me from behind, the bouncer, and I fucking elbowed him. The guy went flying. And I'm like, guys, don't grab me from behind. Like, I don't know who it is, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, wait, let me see. You grab me from behind, you're getting hit. Subconscious actions come through, absolutely. You know, your training and everything you've trained to do will come out, right? Again, if it's realistic. Yeah, absolutely. So don't question or doubt yourself. So you're gonna train the way you fight. So, you know, if you're doing MMA and you're in the street, chances are, if the guy pulls out a knife, you're gonna try to exchange blows and kicks and punches against a knife. When I know, yeah, if I strike him, the first thing I'm gonna do is trap that knife. Or if I can trap it right away, I'm gonna trap it, isolate the knife before I go into my strikes or do them at the same time. But I have to respect the weapon, and I'm gonna have to trap that knife as quickly as possible before I get into my strikes. I'm not gonna try to take the guy down an arm bar while he's holding a knife and let myself get stabbed 20 times and then say, oh, wow, well, I beat him up and I fucking knocked him out, but I got stabbed 15 times and now I'm fucking, you know, I need a bag because I can't fucking piss or whatever. So again, that's the big difference, you know what I mean? That's the big difference when people are teaching self-defense, especially people who, you know, again, when you're doing MMA, if someone attacks you and you pull a knife, is it self-defense or not? It's not self-defense, guys. The amount of force you use must be the amount, force and danger must parallel more or less the same. And I spoke to a lawyer. If I have a knife and I actually had a concealed knife and I pulled that out and I stabbed him, I go to prison. Why did you carry a knife? How did you get the knife? So you had a knife for self-defense and you pulled it out with the intention to stab him. You're fucked, doesn't matter. Even if I disarm him and I have the knife and I use it, I'm fucked. Force must parallel danger. It's fucked up, but that's the way it works. So guys, this is a long live. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, go visit my website, nickdrossos.com, for your self-defense tutorial. I want to thank you guys for supporting me, watching me. Like I said about, you know, these guys making videos, I don't even bother with that. I was actually complimented. Wow, they took the time to make a video about me. They took 6 hours to edit a 6-minute video or whatever it is. So, you know, they probably took a lot of effort to try to like make me look bad. So again, in a lot of their points, I talk about in my other videos. So again, guys, I try to be a person of integrity, of class. I want to promote, you know, what I teach as best as I can. We're all in all this together to teach real self-defense. I don't want to make a name by bashing others. If other people want to do that so they can get credit, knock yourself out. If you want to do that to build your channel, knock yourself out. You can't stop anybody from doing it. All I can do is believe in what I do and what I teach, and that's what separates me from them. So guys,